Should have been here. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right, so yesterday, let's review what we did yesterday. We did adjusting entries. What two accounts do you have to do adjusting entries for?
Supplies and expenses.
Insurance.
Supplies and insurance, okay? Then we move on to closing entries. So these are different. We have adjusting entries here and then closing entries below. So we closed out sales and we closed out expenses. Where did we close both of these out to?
Income summary.
Income summary. Okay, so I'm going to take you all the way back on a journey to the very beginning. Do you remember T accounts?
Yes.
Yeah.
T accounts, okay. So let's create a T account for income summary. Okay, so what's on my left side?
Debit.
Debit. And then this side is credit. Okay, so we just accounted for sales and expenses by affecting income summary. So let's look at this first one. We did sales and income summary. So we have a credit transaction of $5,511. Okay, we credited it. So what's the current balance in income summary?
5,511.
5,511. And then we affected it in a different way. We did a debit. So 2,181. So I had a credit to start with and then a debit. What is my balance now?
Credit.
It's going to be a credit. Yes. How do I know what the number is? I'll do it for you, but how do I subtract? Yeah, subtract it out. So
3,330.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I was like, ooh, dang.
okay, 3,330. Now, if we look back at our worksheet, where do you see that number? 3,330. You should be able to find it on there somewhere.
The net income.
In the net income. Because this is sales minus expenses equals net income. Okay? So, I want you to visualize that because the next thing we're going to do is close the income summary account. So we open it up for like no time at all. We barely open the account and then we close it. It is a temporary account that is not featured on the post-closing trial balance, which is where we're headed. Okay? So if we look at page 210, we see this transaction. We are going to close income summary out to capital. Okay, so do you have this worksheet still?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to close the income summary account. So we're looking at, it says closing entry for income summary with a net income. Did we have a net income on this one?
Yes.
We did, okay? So if we have a current balance of a credit, how do we close this account?
Debit.
By debiting it, okay? So our debit is going to be income summary. And what is our credit going to be? Look at the book. Capital. Because we are increasing how much we're worth. We're increasing how much we're worth by adding that net income into it. So our debit is income summary and our credit is what?
Capital.
Capital. Okay? 310 is capital. Income summary is 330. So, what do you think you do if there's a net loss? Morgan, what do you think we do?
You credit. Definitely not. Is that right?
Yeah.
You credit as
Credit what?
Income summary.
Yes, you just do the opposite. Okay? So you credit income summary and debit capital. Because if you have a net loss, you're not worth as much. So your worth is going down. So you need to credit capital. Okay. So on the work together. Oh wait, we have one more. We have one more. The last account that we need to get rid of is drawing. Okay? Drawing on our worksheet has a credit or a debit balance.
Debit.
Drawing has a debit balance. So to get rid of it, what do we need to do?
Credit.
Credit. Okay? So credit, this is the very last one, closing entry for owner's drawing account. We are going to credit drawing and debit what?
Capital.
Capital. And all of these accounts are going to funnel down into capital. Okay? Let me give you a visual. Did I get rid of this? Hold on. No. Apparently it types B. That's weird. Okay, so I have sales. And I have expenses. And I have drawing. And I have income summary here. And I have capital. Capital is king, capital is the main account we're trying to go to. So we're funneling down into capital by crossing through income summary first. So we close to income summary, and then we close to capital. This one just bypasses the process and goes straight to capital. So if you want to write that in your notes, I think that's a pretty good way to keep it on track. So you close sales, close expenses, close income summary, then close drawing. How do you know what amount to close the income summary? Like, where do you get that dollar amount from?
Net income.
Net income or net
Loss.
loss? Yes. So this is income or loss. This is tricky if you try to do it all at once. Try to do it step by step by step. Close out sales, close out expenses, close out income summary, then close out drawing. Everything will go down to capital, which is what we've already done on the income statement, right? We're just doing it again in journal entry format because we need good records. So let's look at work together and let's actually complete this. So we have closed out sales, we have closed out expenses. What's the next thing we're going to close out?
Income summary.
Income summary. In this case, are we going to debit or credit?
Debit. Income summary.
Yes, debit income summary. For how much? We did it over there.
3,330.
330. And what is my credit account?
Capital.
Capital. Can you see that a little bit better, Justin? Okay. So if we have a net income, income summary is debited. If we have a net loss, it is credited. You either have to memorize that or write it down somewhere. Okay? All right, so we've closed sales, we've closed expenses, we've closed income summary. So all of these are done. Check, check, check. The last thing we have to do is close drawing. So drawing normally has a debit nature to it. So we are going to credit it. What is going to be our debit then?
Capital.
Capital, okay? So on July 31st, capital is my debit for how much? $2,100, that comes from the worksheet. And what is my credit?
Capital.
Capital. No, not capital, drawing.
Oh.
Okay, are we all lost? Are we all on track? What do we think? The reason why people mistake these quite often is they try to just do them really rapidly instead of going through the proper steps. So make sure you do sales first, then expenses, then income summary, and then drawing. And all of these get closed out so that we can do our next step. Okay, so go ahead and do on your own. And then I'm not going to do it at the same time as you. We're going to do it together as a class. You might have to insert a row. You might run out of space. Maybe not. Might be perfect. So on your own, we've closed out sales, we've closed out expenses, so go from there. Close out income summary and close out drawing. So look back at the one we just did too to help guide you through it. Are we ready to compare? I can't really tell if y'all are done. Are you done? Are you lost?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go through it again. It is confusing, I agree. This is tricky. Okay, so probably already closed out sales,
Yes.
okay? Closed out sales. Did we close out expenses?
Yes.
Okay, so where do we go next?
Income summary.
Okay, so we close out our income summary. Let's look at our T account. So the first transaction that we had, what did we do to income summary on closing entries?
We credit.
We credited it, okay? So we credited it for $38.47. Then what did we do the second time?
Debit.
Debit. Okay, so if we subtract the two, are we gonna end up on the debit side or the credit side?
Credit.
Credit, okay, for how much? You should be able to look at your, how much? 1,902, okay? Where can you find that amount on the worksheet?
Net income.
Net income, okay? Because it's sales minus expenses. So if we end up with a credit in income summary, Garland, what do we gotta do to get rid of it?
End up with what?
If we have a credit in income summary right there, the 1902, what do we need to do to get rid of it and get it to zero?
Subtract.
How do you subtract in accounting? If I have a credit, how do I subtract to get to zero?
Debit.
Debit, okay? So we are going to debit income summary. Oops. Oops, okay. So income summary. Going to debit 1902. Kyle, what's my credit?
The credit will be,
Not the amount, but which account am I going to credit? To get rid of income summary.
capital.
Capital, good. For the same amount, right? Okay, so now let's check back to our funnel. We have income summary cleared out. What's the next one that we need to clear out? Drawing, okay? So, let me. Okay, so drawing, if we look at our worksheet, look at your worksheet. If we look at drawing, you go all the way over. Joey, does drawing have a debit or a credit tendency on here? What are we starting with, a debit or a credit?
Wait,
Drawing on the worksheet. So this part right here. Find drawing. Is it a debit or a credit?
Put on
On the worksheet, right here. So, worksheet, find drawing.
Oh.
Yep, does it have a debit or a credit?
Debit.
Okay, so to get rid of it, what do we need to do to it, Garland? To get rid of a debit, what do we do?
Very subtract.
How do you subtract?
Credit.
Credit, good. So our credit is going to be drawing, so what's our debit going to be, Joey? What are we funneling to? Look at our funnel right here. We're going from drawing to capital, okay? So capital is our debit. What's our credit, Garland?
Credit is.
What are we closing out? No, we already closed that.
Oh.
No,
Drawing.
drawing, yes. Okay, and it's for the same amount. How much is that, Kate?
$1,000.
$1,000. Is it just 1,000? All right. Are we all closed out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to not do the 8-3 until tomorrow. So what I want you to do today, because you have 30 minutes, is I want you to do, we're kind of skipping ahead. I don't like to do that, but because a lot of people are going today, I want you to do application problem 8-1 and 8-2. So make sure you go in order. Do your adjusting entries for supplies, adjusting entries for insurance, and then your closing entries. Sales, expenses, income summary, drawing. Eventually all to capital. If you're struggling, look back at the work together and on your own. Look back at what we already did because we're just duplicating it with different numbers. Please, please ask me for help if you're struggling. Okay, so application problem 1 and 2 for chapter 8.